Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness. Welcome. Welcome to this live stream, this Roma Press live stream, which some could say is quite historical because this is the first time Roma win against a top three team, a top club in Italy this season. This is the first time that Claudio Ranieri wins at San Siro in 17 years. First time that Claudio Ranieri wins at San Siro in 17 years. Like, let that sink in, guys. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me to another live stream. As always, I wanted to thank our wonderful patrons who support us, who make this possible. So, if you would like to join our patron, please go to patreon.com/Roma Press, and there is lots of cool benefits. There is some additional content that you can get access to. So there is also plenty of discounts right now. The link is also in the description box below. So check that out. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, subscribe now. And the rule of the game obviously is just write any civilized comment, any civilized question. I'll make sure to get to you. I know that today I can expect a lot of excitement. Frankly, I'm excited myself. I said it in the reaction for the patrons. I I had a knot in my stomach, which I've been doing this for a long time with John. We've been recording the podcast for 7 years. I've been helping out with the website for 4. So once you start doing this on a regular basis, you learn to live with any result, any game. We were there right after the match in Budapest when Roma lost on penalties against Sevilla. We were there with John. We could not run away. We had to be uh, and record after the match. So we've built some resistance to this, and yet today, when I was watching this game, when I was seeing all these chances that we were missing left and right, when I saw this first half that where Roma were brilliant, and when I looked at the Serie A table after the match at full time, uh, I felt so tense in a way that I hadn't felt in a long time. So I'm sure that a lot of you can relate. So welcome everybody. I'm going to start reading off the comments, and we'll discuss. We'll react to the game, to what went on, and to what lies ahead of us, because there is plenty to talk about. That I mean, we have 4 games left, less than a month remaining in the season, and we're going up against some of Italy's best teams right at the moment, including Fiorentina, who just this afternoon got a precious win against Empoli, 2-1, and they're 1 point behind us. So today's result is so unbelievably crucial. We would be talking about a whole different ending to the season had we not won today. So Dan Vesda says, all in favor for Claudio Ranieri as the new pope. I'm sure he could be interested in that because, I don't know if retirement is really the name of the game for him. I'm sure this is a guy who would love to do something. He's he claims that he just wants to rest and travel the world. Well, I mean, being a pope, you travel the world, you see plenty of the world, so maybe that's an option. Chivas says, my heart was racing. Soulé is going to be such a good starter next season, and so wonderful again to see a player who struggled, who clearly was having a difficult time breaking through this reality, and finally he gets his moment. He is able to build consistency, not only in performances but also in the output. The fact that he gets actually rewarded for his performances with goals to confirm his growth is huge. It's not something that has happened too often at Roma, for players of his caliber, with the kind of reputation that he had, with the expectations crushing him into the ground, and yet he's been able to lift himself up, and that's again so rare. So I'm also very happy, and I do think that he's going to become an important piece. Clearly, he is the type of player that Roma want to bet on for the future. Marco, greetings to all Romanisti and anti-Murinisti. Marco, please don't start. We already went through it the last time out. Ciao, ciao, Germanicus. Andy, thank you so much. Wave, yes, keeping Roma Press alive. Again, if I know there's some people who maybe don't follow us so closely, so just to clear everything up, again, John is not going to be back before the end of the season. John continues his recovery and will most likely come back in June. And that's when we plan to resume the podcast, hopefully. But so for now, this is what's up. This is what's up. The live streams after the game is what I can offer you instead of the podcast. So, and if you would like more content, if you would like more of my thoughts, more reactions to games, you can always subscribe to our Patreon. And if you become a paid member there for $5, I think you can get access to additional episodes. So it's always an option. Yes, let's get to 2,000 subs. Absolutely, that's right. Please let us get to that milestone. I think today is a wonderful opportunity for it, because really this puts Roma, this win puts Roma in a situation where, frankly, when I tuned in last week or whatever it was to discuss Roma's latest result, I thought of this game. I thought about facing Inter, and I thought to myself, listen, it's the San Siro. Anything that is not a loss will be positive in my book. Will the Champions League ship sail? Yes. I said it. I said it a number of times, even after the derby. I was clear. The derby for me was almost like this moment where Roma had to come up with something other than a draw, a loss, and that draw, it didn't feel like it was enough. Today they compensated for that. Today they put us right back into this situation where we look at the Serie A table, guys. There is literally 5 points between Atalanta, who are sitting third, and Fiorentina, who are sitting eighth. And that tells you all about Serie A this season, meaning everybody in Serie A has been through the meat grinder this season. It's been very, very difficult to come up with a team that has been able to build with consistency. Even Inter are starting to crumble, because today Inter were completely out of gas. They did not have any gas left in the tank. Barella looked completely burned. Their entire midfield was so slow. That first half, Roma were just clearly the better team, which, again, it just to be here at this point in the season, 27th of April, 4 games left, and to be able to come out of the San Siro and talk about Roma being clearly the more dominant side is a wonderful feeling that I did not think we would be able to get back so late in the season. In fact, we have Danvesda who says, we are so back. I hope Roma can take the momentum, beating Fiorentina next week when we play in Olimpico, and Fiorentina still have midweek game versus Betis. Absolutely, that's a good point. This is again, it's we find ourselves in a situation that is so completely unfamiliar to us, because we have only one game per week, and we actually are the team that now can focus on that one game per week. We don't have to distribute our energy, and yet we still see that Roma are far from perfect. Mind you, this is a team that, like Gianluca Mancini said, in January we had 23 points or whatever it was, and we are able, in the second half, since Ranieri's appointment, we've collected, we are the Scudetto contenders. I think something like 47 some point. It's ridiculous what we've been able to achieve with Ranieri. So this is what he's doing is remarkable. What Roma have done so far is remarkable. Yet there is still things that they haven't gotten down. Like, for example, the inability to score despite all these opportunities shows that, I don't know whether it's something in training or whether it's the pressure getting to them, but Roma today should have had 4 goals to their name, and so even with this one game per week, there is still a lot to work on. There is still a lot that can be improved. Roma must continue to be more, more clinical, more cynical in front of goal, to not shy away from the moment. Because today I look at Pizzilli, for example, and Pizzilli squanders a perfect opportunity, and you think to yourself, just put it away, put the game away. To be even in a situation at San Siro where you can actually score the goal that would give you a 2-0 advantage. I mean, those situations, those moments don't come along too many times. So you have to be better at that. You have to also read exactly your opponent. Today, Inter were your victim. You were the predator. It's as simple as that. Roma, in that first half, they recognized that they were the ones to actually dictate the game at San Siro. They were the ones who were in control of their performance. Inter were completely out of answers. Acerbi looked like their best player, and that tells you all. A guy who's 37 years old. So today was very good, but it could have been even better, and that has to be the engine that allows you to get that boost for these final 4 games. I mean, guys, again, it's less than a month. The last match day is on May 25th against Torino on an afternoon game. That's when the season ends. That's when we will look at this table and either be super excited, or we'll still have things to look back on and be grateful for. Because again, just, I mean, to be here to talk about this result, to talk about these standings is, after the kind of start to the season we had, is unthinkable. I'm so proud of this team, says Amazing Vincent. Yeah, absolutely. And to also add to that, I mean, doing it all without Paulo Dybala, guys, doing it all without Paulo Dybala, because that's another thing, that they did not let that injury to Dybala uh, get, get the best of them, because it it was almost expected. I think a lot of people, including myself, kind of felt that that absence was going to be so impactful in the long run, no matter whether Soulé or Baldanzi, who were both doing well at the time. I mean, at some point, we expected Paulo Dybala's absence to catch up to this team. So far, they've really, I mean, it's been a team effort. Today, Shomurodov starts, Soulé plays as a winger. You have all these different guys coming through at one point or another and allowing you to survive from week to week, because we all knew that it was going to come down to this. It was going to come down to survival of the fittest on a weekly basis. I never expected this win, says Danvesda. Danvesda says 17 years since Ranieri last won at San Siro. That's my age. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you see, that's quite puts things into perspective. We couldn't string 2 passes together, and yet we won. It reminds me of Mourinho ball, no football, just nonsense. Marco, at this point, with these kinds of results, you just have to be grateful, man. It just, look at the streak, look at where we are in the table, look at where we could have been had Ranieri been appointed earlier on. It's, whether you like the performances or not, the effort is undeniable. The effort is undeniable, and the results are just as undeniable. Ciao, Andy. Such a decisive game, considering the talk about Roma not beating top teams. Best team of 2025 in Serie A. Thoughts on Paredes not playing? I suspect a schism between him and Pellegrini. Christopher, I don't know. It's true though that Paredes sort of faded into the background, a bit like Salmakers, a bit like Pizzilli, though obviously Paredes' role is larger. It was a pretty hot take, a pretty heated, controversial decision today to have once again Pellegrini in the starting lineup with Cristante. A lot of people seemed to take issues with that. I'm not sure. I mean, I do prefer, obviously, for Paredes to be in the lineup. He's kind of getting the Mats Hummels treatment, becoming really important under Ranieri and then sort of falling through the cracks once again. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope that he can still remain sharp and contribute, because going into these final four games, he needs to be there. Like, this midfield needs him. Oh my goodness, what does this mean with getting top four, Andy? I mean, guys, you see the table, the same table as I do. The Juventus and Bologna have still a game to play. So does Atalanta, but there is literally, I mean, there is 1 point that separates Roma and Juve and Lazio, who are yet also to play a game. So there's so much at stake right now. It's so close, and Roma will have to play against Fiorentina next week. They will have to go up against Atalanta, Torino on the final match day. Reminds me of Ranieri's Leicester. They focus on not losing, and you know what? I mean, for a team that went through that horrendous spell with Juric, a team that seemed to accept a loss like it was their bread and butter, the fact that we are able to focus on not losing is fantastic. The fact that this team can actually keep up with Inter for 70 plus minutes at San Siro and not let their guard down, and not allow Inter to score and to maintain their focus, that's the key. You don't, like, if you know your weak points, if you know what your weaknesses are, if you know what your flaws are, you just have to stay together. I think that was the biggest lesson for me from Ranieri's incredible run with Leicester, was that team. Okay, obviously they had so many talented individuals that then later on would go on to do great things, in Mahrez and Kante and Vardy, obviously. But the key to that team was that it was actually a team. Like, it worked as a team. Today, Roma were much more of a team than Inter. Inter lost so many duels. Were so disconnected, whereas Roma clearly had a plan going into this game. Like Ranieri said, we came to play today. I loved it. I think that was, that kind of attitude is going to save you. And it's been working for us. It's been working for us. If you look at exactly Roma being at the top of the table in this second half of the season, that's because if you compare them to any other team, Roma have been much more of a team than anyone else. The reason why they were losing with Juric is they were so all over the place. They were so bad. Not a single player was thriving, except for Miles VR, who had to come up with a save every 2 minutes, because we were getting bombarded from all sides. Incredible. We should have had at least 2 3 goals, but of course, at the end of the day, Cortomuso triumphs above all. Forza Roma and Forza Soulé. Yes, Nino, Cortomuso forever. Germanicus, Soulé seems to be getting better and better. I wasn't a Soulé fan in the beginning. Well, I mean, I think few of us were. He was so undecisive, so timid, so also not clever with the ball. Like, that's it kind of reminded me of the worst Justin Kluivert, sort of selfish, wanting desperately to score, wanting desperately to come through for his team, but not really taking part in anything that the rest of the team is doing, sort of just being there, floating about. And I think that was Ranieri's biggest lesson, to have Soulé, a player of his kind, a player who can be important on his own, but it can actually also thrive when put together with the others. I mean, Soulé has been incredible also in how he's been able to contribute to Roma's defensive schemes, to how he's been able to read all of Ranieri's demands, because Ranieri has him playing all over the pitch, and whether it's winger, whether it's more as a trequartista, whether it's close to Shomurodov, whether it's close to Dovbik, whether it's closer to someone like Baldanzi, so far Soulé has been versatile, which is something that he was not at the beginning of the season, which is the reason why he was on the bench for so long. This is a big step up for Roma. I thought we would lose tonight. I'm sorry to dwell on everything, says Danvesda, but that chance by Pellegrini, he could have passed the ball, but decides to pass it very late. I'm sorry, but Pellegrini needs to not start games. He's going to cost us. We won it for the Pope. Yes, we won it absolutely for the Pope. Why didn't Sal Mercus play? I think he looks a bit, I mean, for the past 2 months, he's looked a bit, I don't know, unfocused, a bit gassed. I don't know. It looks, he's just that's not too decisive. I think, I mean, it was the smart decision not to play him today, I think. I would argue that even Stefan Al-Sharawi has been, in his limited minutes, has been better than Salmakers. Do you think it was a penalty? Yes, I think it was a penalty. Come on. Come on. You know, even the ball is not there and Indica is already holding Bisek. I do think it's a penalty. I think Fabri saved Roma. On that occasion, mind you, on that occasion. The fact that Roma actually put up a fight even after scoring the lucky goal was very surprising. Well, I mean, that's the thing. We did not expect this kind of play from Roma. I was not expecting that first half. I was actually thinking that Roma were going to be much more passive, give Inter the ball, allow Inter to dictate the play, that they were going to get stretched out by Inter. You know, I did not want to see Di Marco getting the best of Roma. And instead we got actually a team that wanted a result, that actually was convinced of being able to get a result in this stadium. So, and that comes down to Ranieri, that comes down to the preparation, that comes down to the players wanting it, you know. As a one of my idols, obviously, David Mamet, a great playwright, used to say that, you know, I mean, he wrote so many iconic also movies, including The Untouchables, The Verdict with Paul Newman. And you always used to say that the key to a great movie is to have a character want something at all costs, and then the entire movie is just about that, is about the character's pursuit towards that goal. And that's what Roma came with today to the San Siro. They rolled up in that team bus and they knew what they wanted. That's such a big difference compared to, say, well, when they went to Allianz Stadium with De Rossi still on the bench. Remember, the third match day against Juve, they go to the Allianz, they play against Juve, and yeah, they get that draw. What is a 0-0 draw? But what was the, you know, was there something more? Was there hunger? Was there a conviction of the team that they want to do something? Was there determination? No, it was more of a happy-go-lucky, let's see what happens, you know. And that will never be enough, especially at this point in the season where you have to come through with a result. So tonight is also special because of that. Well, today, not tonight. Today is special because of that, because Roma knew what they wanted, and God bless them. Because again, that's not something you can say too often about this team, especially against bigger sides. I mean, so my guys, I don't even have to dig so much in past with Mourinho. Remember, 3-0 against Inter. And that was such a deflating loss because you knew that you never had a chance, you never stood a chance to begin with. So this today was Roma wanting it more than Inter, and I have to applaud them for that. Pizzilli and Dovbyk should have both had goals. Yeah, absolutely, Nino, absolutely. Andy, what a win. Oh, let's discuss the final stretch with Juve, Bologna, Lazio. If we control our games and win out, we still need help. Which team is a problem for us to get top four? Oh, I mean, for me, honestly, Bologna are riding on a high that no other team involved in this race is, right. I mean, they just got to the Coppa Italia final. They've been very good with Vincenzo Italiano. People did not expect Bologna to be so good. Me included. I thought they, you know, by getting dismantled in the summer, by having Motta leave them, by seeing Calafiori leave, you know, it almost felt like, oh, sure, the team achieves Champions League football, and that's about it. That's all they're gonna get. Well, no, actually, now they're involved in another top four race, in a Coppa Italia final. They got all the momentum by their side, and that's, I mean, I think that's the team that we have to pray uh, loses out in these coming weeks, because they just have everything on their side. I think, compared to uh, teams like Lazio or Juve, who are a bit unstable. There was a chance where Angelino passed the ball into the air to Artem. What a miss! Amazing miss. And remember when we hadn't won an away game in 9 months? Yeah, that's it's incredible to think we've just beaten the best team in Italy away from home. Yeah, and exactly as you say, Vincent, we were here with John, and we every week we had our head in our hands. Every week it was torture. Every week, whenever we had to, especially when we had to play away from the Olimpico, we more or less were resigned to this team just not having the juice, just not coming up with anything. We There was no reason for us to get our hopes up, and then slowly they win against Udinese, right? And they start to build this streak. And all of a sudden, you find yourself not even hoping, but thinking to yourself, "Oh yeah, maybe I can actually count on this team doing something impressive." And um, despite this impressive streak that they've built with Ranieri, I doubt that many of us even thought that Roma could come out of this stadium with 3 points, having been in a situation where they could have easily scored 3, 4 goals. So it's an amazing turnaround, an amazing turnaround. I know I'm getting repetitive when I say this, but Ranieri should always be thanked for this. Regardless of what happens, regardless of where we finish at the table, what he's doing now is amazing. It's amazing, and he needs a statue. He needs a statue that sort of acknowledges his importance to this team, to for rescuing us, for rescuing us. He's like, I was recently in New York, and I went to see the Balto statue in Central Park. The statue that is dedicated to the dog that saved an entire village in Alaska during a disease. He brought medicine. He led a pack of dogs for hundreds of miles in the most awful weather conditions, Alaska, freezing cold, hundreds of miles. And that's Ranieri. The Ranieri is Balto. Ranieri is doing a miracle. He's saving the village. uh oh, Roma, why are you giving me hope for top four? But I'm here for it. Yes, you are not alone. Mario, Roma played a great game, but yes, too many missed chances. Nice that Inter were tired. Too bad Napoli have the chance to pass us with titles. Yeah, if there is one thing that burns in this, is that with today, we did give a helping hand to Napoli, who with Antonio Conte. I mean, they're gonna seize this moment. I don't think they're gonna make a false step right now. Although who knows? I mean, again, this Serie A season has been so up and down. Atalanta, Inter, Napoli, they've been all over the place. With Soulé now on fire, how will be this? What will be the setup for next season's formation? I mean, we have Dybala and Soulé, all reliable for us. We have a setup that is like a 4-3-2-1, and we have the players for it. And really, I mean, this is so, this is, we can only talk about this when we know who's the new coach, because we have a lot of players who are built for this system. El Shaarawy, Baldanzi, and if you bring in someone who naturally has to change the formation too much, I mean, then it becomes a problem. So I think whoever comes in will be and should be able to work with this kind of setup, where players exactly like Soulé thrive. What are your thoughts on the performances of the January transfers so far? I think actually Devin Wrench is probably the honestly the best right back that we've had in quite a while. Um, I've been very surprised positively by Wrench. The others, obviously, Gurna gets these scraps. I do think that there is a good player there. Salahuddin, I don't know, but I do want to give props to Wrench because just a very consistent player for such a young age. I'm very optimistic about him being a good option for the future. Uh, the irony that Zaleski was able to play very well the second he got subbed in. I mean, Zaleski has been quite good for Inter, um, and that's part of the reason why he wants to stay. Well, part of the reason is that he knows that his days at Roma are over. His relationship with Roma is broken, but that's also why Inter are discussing possibly signing him for 6 million euros at the end of the season. Roma will definitely pick up those negotiations because that's 6 million capital gain. That's huge for selling a youth product that you were bound to risk in free agency. Well, Roma extended his contract just to exactly avoid losing him as a free agent, and then hopefully Inter will buy him for exactly like this mentioned fee of 5 to 6 million. Of course, I'm grateful, but 2 years ago, says Marco, I said the same thing, and look where we are. Just defense and long passes. That football has no future, just like it doesn't have future 2 years ago with Mourinho. Marco, I don't think that whatever we are doing now is something that we're supposed to build on. This is what we're doing now is a reaction to the god awful beginning of the season. So don't I wouldn't interpret this as the blueprint for what's to come. I look at what Roma are doing now, and I'm thinking, sure, they're playing this way in order to be as efficient as possible, in order to bounce back from the situation that they put themselves in to begin the season, and whatever happens next will not be connected to this. That's why you're bringing in a new coach. That's why Ranieri doesn't want to continue. That he knows that he said it himself so many times in interviews. He said, if I stay one more season, Roma will have wasted time and resources. So that's the whole premise. The premise is, sure, this is good, but there's more to the story. Elsha instead of Salmakers was weird to me. Paredes and Pizzilli have been rarely after extension. Yeah, have been seen rarely after extensions. Yeah, it's true. Pizzilli, since he got his contract renewed, he has been mostly missing. Paredes, same. Paredes, since he renewed his contract, he's had more interviews about his potential future in South America than minutes played for Roma. Inter played with their second team. Let's be realistic. We played bad, but no, come on, man, Marco. No, okay. Some people will never be happy. Some people will never be happy. Inter played with the team that they have without Marcus Thuram. Okay, sure. Denzel Dumfries, Jelinski off the bench. Fine. What else do we need? Pellegrini and Cristante are most likely leaving this summer. Yeah, I mean, I do believe that. I do believe that this is sort of the last dance for both. It's quite impressive if you look at Cristante's numbers. I mean, the games he's played for Roma, wow, quite impressive. But I do think that the summer is coming, and this will be the moment where both will part ways with Roma, despite them playing such a central role in recent weeks under Ranieri. I do think sort of there will be an agreement on both sides to discontinue and part ways. Hi Andy, do you think having Ranieri at the club next year will put extra pressure on the next coach? If something goes wrong, Friedkins will be trigger happy to fire the coach. Put Ranieri back in. No, but it doesn't work that way. Ranieri has already said he retires from coaching. Like it's not gonna be even an option. Ranieri will be a club executive next season. He will be a consultant. so he will not be eligible to be a coach. He even today he said that I've already handed my coaching card, my membership to Coverciano. So sort of alluding to the fact that he's out. He's out, and it's not going to be possible anymore. So I don't think that's the idea. What Roma want to do now, what Ranieri has said, what Ghisolfi has hinted at, is they want to build a strong organization. They want to build a structure. I think, with Ranieri in charge, they, as an executive, they will definitely avoid being trigger happy next season. If Roma decide to be trigger happy next season, I do believe that Ranieri will decide to walk. He will come to the conclusion that, listen, this is not what I signed up for. I wanted stability. I wanted to build something more long term, and this is not it. So Pellegrini was the worst player on the pitch by far. Sell him. Marco, Ranieri makes the same mistake with his wingers like Mourinho did. He tries to make them win backs and defend more often than attack. That's how you ruin an offensive play. That's we are bad at attack. Okay, but at the same time, we're missing point chances from point blank range. I don't think that's on Ranieri. There are just situations where Roma, like Pizzilli, Roma players just squander clear cut chances. Yeah, I agree with you on characters wanting something in a movie at all costs. Just watch the movie Heat, of course. Yeah, I mean, Heat, legendary movie. Next season, replace Pellegrini with Mitoma. Uh, Someone says, Marco, calm down. Overall, Ghisolfi did a pretty decent job, right? Kone is a steal. Kone is definitely a keeper, agrees Germanicus, at all costs. Yeah, Kone has been also recently linked with the PSG. Um, it seems like Roma are being linked with the possibility of letting some of their best players go in this summer because of the restrictions due to financial fair play, due to the fact that they will have to generate revenue, that they will have to come up with the infamous plusvalenza. At this moment in time, however, I think it was Fabrizio Romano who said that there is no contact between Roma and PSG. Kone is considered one of the key players. Other media reports also agree that Kone, Ndika, Sviar, this trio that is bound to generate interest in Europe, is bound to catch the attention of numerous top clubs. Roma will do everything they can to keep them. That will be, as I said in an exclusive episode for the patrons, which you can find on patreon.com/Roma Press. Ghisolfi, that will be his tall task of entering this his second summer with Roma, and not only focus on signings, but also on keeping the players that matter, that are important in this, what he defined, medium to long-term project. So that's going to be his huge challenge. I think, guys, we will end this live stream here because I feel like we got everything out of the way. We have discussed the game. We have talked about the moment that Roma are in, a moment that none of us thought was going to come around. We thought we were going to linger around, what, 12th, 10th place, something like that, in the best case scenario. This scenario we did not predict. This screenplay we did not write. This is a screenplay that Ranieri and his men wrote. Obviously, sometimes the performances leave something to be desired. More opportunities that need to be capitalized on, obviously. But right now we're fifth, 60 points, and there is just a small, tiny difference between us and Juve and Lazio and Fiorentina, all of whom have 59 points. There's Bologna ahead of us, 60 points. We cannot make mistakes. Neither can the opposition. We have to keep on going, guys, because this train cannot stop now. After winning at San Siro, you have to keep on getting wins. You have to keep on proving everyone that whatever ideas we had about this team at the start of the season were wrong. And this is what it takes. These kinds of victories that make us go, huh? Where did this come from? A victory at San Siro, Ranieri's first victory at San Siro in 17 years, guys. A great moment to end this live stream. Thank you so much for supporting us. Again, apologies for not releasing podcasts without John. That will be the situation for the remainder of the season. If you would like more content, check out our Patreon. The link is in the description box below. Thank you as always. And obviously, as always, Forza Roma. And until next time, ciao.